Hello folks, this is Wager Detective here, May 17th, 2026. A beautiful day down here in Atlantic City. Reporting live from the Tropicana. Going to break down this game between the Boston Red Sox versus the Atlanta Braves. Be sure to follow Wager Detective on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Set alerts on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, and leave comments all over the place in those platforms for Wager Detective. Let's get into this cap. It's getting close to game time, and I got a little late started on this cap because I was talking to friends about the basketball game tonight, and then also talking to them about baseball. Kind of got behind in this one. Hopefully you saw my report on the Tampa Bay game that I posted earlier on YouTube. So let's get into this cap. Let's take a look at it. The Boston Red Sox this year, they are 18-26 on the year. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They're 1-3 in extra inning games, and they're 3-6 in one-run games this year as they get the season going. So not really good there in that aspect. And then they are 13-21 versus right-handed pitching this year. So something to keep in mind on Red Sox. 18-26 on the year, 5-5 in their last 10, and then 1-3 in extra inning games. So something to keep in mind on there. Bello is going to be on the mound, but in road day games this year for the Red Sox, they are 5-4 in road day games this year. They're 6 over and 3 under in road day games this year, scoring 6.11 runs per game to 3.88 for their opponents. That's a plus 2.2 runs per game average in their road day games this year for the Red Sox. So something to keep in mind. They're 5-4, but when they do win, they're putting up a lot of numbers. Again, 6.11 runs per game to 3.88 for their opponents in road day games this year for the Red Sox. Comes out to 9.99 runs per game. The Red Sox, 4-5 in their last 9 overall, 1 over and 8 under. Makes you wonder why that number is set at 8.5 today on the run line. The winds are not really blowing right to left. It's going to be a nice hitting weather. When you see that precipitation, but it's nice outside, seems like it's going to be a hot, humid day, and I could see why they're looking at that. But that could be a tricky lean to the under, but let's keep this going here. So again, the Red Sox 4-5 in their last 9 overall, 1 over 8 under in those games. They're only scoring 2.33 runs per game to 2.55 for their opponents. That comes out to 4.88 runs per game average. Their opponents have scored 3 runs or less 7 times in their last 9 games. So you can see why that could be a sneaky under game here, even with the weather looking good. Okay, so the Red Sox this year versus the National League, they're 8-9, 5 over and 12 under. They're scoring 3.82 runs per game to 2.94 runs per game for their opponent. That comes out to 6.76 runs per game for the Braves, for the Red Sox versus the National League this year. They're scoring 65 runs to their opponent's 50. Again, Red Sox 8-9 versus the American League this year, 5 over, 12 under, scoring 3.82 runs per game. They scored 5+ runs 7 times in their games versus the National League this year, and their opponents have been held, their National League opponents have been held to 2 runs or less 8 times in this split as well. So that's something to keep in mind there. They do, when they do get busy versus the National League, they do score runs, and they do score 5+ 7 times in 17 games versus the National League this year. So something to keep in mind. But we're going to have Brian Bello on the mound today, and in his starts this season, the Red Sox are 1-5 in those games. So something to keep in mind on. And they're 1-4 in his last 5 starts, 4 over, 1 under. In those last 5 starts for Bello, 21 innings pitched, 35 hits, 21 earned runs, and 6 home runs. 12 walks and 15 Ks. That comes out to a 9 ERA, a 2.23 whip, and a 2.57 home runs per 9 in Bello's last 5 outings. On 4 days rest, like he'll be pitching today, he's coming off his last outing was 4 days rest with 88 pitches. He's going to be on 4 days rest. The Red Sox are surprisingly 2-3 in those games where Bello pitches on 4 days rest. They lost 1-8, they won 3-2, they won 13-1, lost 5-6, and lost 9-10. So if you look at those, that's 1 over, 1 under, 2 over. So 4 over, 1 under in those games where Bello has pitched on 4 days, his last 5 on 4 days rest. And that's dating back to last year, as Wager Detective likes to take a peek at how he's doing in that. So they're 2-3 in their last 5 when he pitches on 4 days rest. And again, they're scoring runs. I mean, and the games are going over. 4 over, 1 under in those games. The Red Sox have scored 18, 27, 31 runs in 4 games. So they're scoring runs. in those games. And in those games, on his last 5 on 4 days rest, he's given up 18 hits on 26.2 innings pitched. He's given up 24 hits, 10 earned runs, 11 walks. So if you look at that, on 4 days rest, he pitches a little bit better, right, over his last 5. 3.42 ERA, a 1.33 whip, and only 1 home run per 9 over his last 5 on 4 days rest. So we looked at his last 5, where the Red Sox are 1-5. They're 1-5 on his starts this year, and they're 1-4 in their last 5. The Red Sox on Bellows starts, but that 9 ERA, 2.23 whip, 2.57 home runs per 9 is a little concerning. But if we look at what he's done on 4 days rest, the Red Sox are 2-3 in his last 5 games on the road on 4 days rest, and better ERA, 3.42 ERA, 1.33 whip, and a 1.09 home runs per 9. So I believe in progression to the regression. You know, I believe that Bello is not as bad as his numbers have shown. I think the Braves, the Red Sox have shown that they could score runs. Both these games have ended 3-2. Both teams have won in the series 3-2. So it's split. The series is split. This is for the series winner. And both teams have one game apiece win where they've won 3-2. Now let's take a look at the Braves. So if we look at that, Cap, road day games this year, not bad. 5-4. They're 4-5 in their last 9 overall. Not really scoring. But compared to their road day games, they're scoring 6.11 runs per game for the Red Sox, but they're only scoring 2.33 over the last 9. And I think we find something in the middle there. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards the over here. Let's get into the Braves part of this, Cap. They are the favorite today. They're minus 162. Grant Holmes is going to be on the mound. The Red Sox the Braves are 6-4 in their last 10. They're 17-11 versus right-handed pitching. They're 4-3 in one-run games. And they're 12-8 versus the American League this year, and 1-2 in extra innings. They've only played 4 home day games this year, where they're 2-2. They've scored 3.5 runs per game to 3 for their opponent. That comes out to 6.5, which is 2 runs below the number set today at 8.5. So not a lot of home games, right? The Red Sox have 9 road day games. The Braves only have 4 home day games this year, all right? And they're winning by a half a run per average, 3.5 to 3 in those games. If we look at the Braves, the last 9, they're 5-4, 2 over, 7 under. You start to see why this could be a sneaky under, right? 5-4 in their last 9 are the Braves, and 2 over and 7 under. They're scoring 3 runs a game, 3.33 runs a game to 2.2 runs a game for their opponent. Comes out to 5.55 runs per game average. So if we look at the last 9 for the Braves games, last 9 overall, their average score is 5.55, and if we look at their home day games this year, 4 of them, 6.55. So if you add those together, you're coming out to 12, comes out to about 6 on the median there, and the over-under set at 12 because they see these pictures and they see the metrics, and the books are putting that at 8.5, and maybe thinking the public's going to bite on that. I don't know. Now, if we look at what the Braves have done versus the American League this year, they are 12-8, and that's 7 over and 13 under. So another case for the under here. 7 over and 13 under for the Braves versus the American League this year. In those games, the Braves are scoring 4.45 runs per game to 2.95 for their opponent. They're outscoring their opponents in the American League 89 to 59 runs. And that comes out to 7.4 runs per game average over those 20 games. If we look at what they've done in their last 5 with Grant Holmes on the mound, they are 4-1. Where they've beaten the Cubs, Colorado, they beat the Phillies twice, and they beat Miami, or they lost to Miami 4-10. So when Grant Holmes has been on the mound, last 5 that Holmes has started, the Braves are 4-1. They beat the Cubs, Colorado, and they beat Phillies twice, and they lost to Miami. In those 5 outings, 23.2 innings pitched, 22 hits, 15 earned runs, 13 walks, and 5 home runs given up by Grant Holmes there. That comes out to a 5.72 ERA, a 1.48 whip, and a 1.91 home runs per 9 in those last 5 outings for Clay Holmes. Now again, progression to the regression. You're getting the Red Sox. They're a fade number today because Bello's on the mound. Red Sox are not doing good when he pitches this year. So something to think about. Now, the Braves are also 3-1 when Holmes pitches on 4 days rest this year. They did beat Arizona 2-0 in this split. They beat LA out in LA 8-2. They lost to the Marlins 4-10, and they beat the Phillies 5-3 on Grant Holmes' starts on 4 days rest this year. He's got 22.2 innings pitched, 16 hits, giving up 8 earned runs, 3 home runs, 11 walks, and 17 Ks. So another teaching moment for Wager Detective here. We'll teach you a little something on how to do these, how to find the whip. So 22.2 innings pitched on 4 days rest for Grant Holmes this year. He's given up 16 hits and 8 earned runs. So the 8 earned runs, we'll do the ERA. 8 times 9 innings in a game, that's 72, divided by 22.6, which is 22 2/3 of an inning. He's got a 3.18 ERA on his games on 4 days rest this year. Not bad, all right? Now, if we look at the whip, 16 hits, 11 walks. Whip is walks plus hits plus innings pitched, so that's 27. 16 hits, 11 walks, so that's 27, divided by 22.6. And he's got a 1.19 whip. He's given up 3 home runs. So 3 times 9 is 27, divided by 22.6. And he's given up a little more, 1.19 home runs per 9. So he's pitching good. I think this could be a sneaky under. If Wager Detective is going to call this, I will say that I do believe that this game today does go under. I mean, you look at both teams, and you look at what they've done. I mean, look at this. This is the Braves lineup. Pretty good, right? Baldwin leads the National League in runs. Matt Olson leads the National League in doubles. They got guys that can hit over there. They got guys that are creeping around 300. You got Michael Harris that's batting 308. You got Drake Baldwin batting 298. Olson's chipping in. Guys can walk. They're patient at the bat. And, you got Olson with 14 home runs, and you got the 37 RBIs for Olson already, 34 RBIs for Baldwin, and then you got Ozzie Albies, Dubon, and Riley all chipping in. Guys can hit over there, man. If I'm going to call this game, I do believe that the Braves should be or could be the play here, right? Now, if we look at it, we already said that this line is set at 8.5. It looks a little sneaky, right? Because both pitchers just they're not really getting it. There's some of those metrics, but if you look at how they pitch on respective days rest, those numbers kind of come back to where this game could be an under. And both teams aren't hitting. What did we say in this cap, guys? We said a lot of different things in this cap, but we said, more importantly than anything, that the Braves' last 9 games overall, they're 2 over 7 under. And if we look at them versus the American League this year, in 20 games, the total average is coming out to 7.4. So there's a lot of things to kind of look at there where you're kind of saying, is it really going to be something where it's an over game just because both these guys aren't pitching well? I don't know. But if I was to look at this game, Braves are minus 146. I think there's value there with the Braves to finish off the series and beat these guys, considering the fact that they did win yesterday in a close game. They're not hitting the ball well either. So that's going to be Wager Detective's call here, calling the Braves minus 146 and to get the job done. And I think if they do, you hate to call an under in a game like this with the weather just looking like it can be an under game, but maybe the recency bias of. Be sure to follow Wager Detective on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, and I love all my fans. I'll talk to you soon.